Hello crafters, I'm Sarithri, and today we're finishing up our floss adventure. If you missed the last two videos, we've gone on a creative journey this month to use up some embroidery thread by trying some new crafts. So far, I have tried tatting, made a little stuff. I've darned some socks. I don't have them on me, I am sorry. And we did some crazy quilting to create this cover for what will be turning into a binding pouch today. So here's the plan. This is the outside of the binding pouch, but we have all of these pieces cut out and ready to be turned into the inside. I want to spend some time embellishing and embroidering onto some of these pieces to add a little bit extra flair. And then we'll be going together and assembling the pouch and actually finishing this thing. Finally, we'll talk a little bit about my journey this month, what I learned, which crafts I would like to do again, and go from there. Let's switch over to my desk view so that you can see what we're working on today. Okay, so quick recap of what we did. Here's the outside of this new little binding cover. Here's what it's gonna look like. Here's the inside, so you can see the chaotic mess that is my seams. And it's gonna be folded up like this, so a little booklet. I will link the pattern that I'm using down below and show a photo on screen now of what their version looks like. And here's what I'm doing. We're gonna have this is our inside color. It will tie in nicely with this little patch right here on the outside. We have the backing for our other panel here, and that will tie in nicely as well with some of the pieces on the outside. We have a little pocket that goes right here for us to put things in. I will probably be embroidering on this because it's a little off-colored right there. We have, this is currently pinned inside out. But basically, I'm making a little pouch right here. I've already embroidered on that one, but it's gonna hopefully be housing my scissors. We'll see if I have to redo this because it's a little small. But that's the idea there. We have a little patch of felt that we'll be using to tuck away needles in our kit. And then we have a little pouch that will be right along here. I will have to size that zipper better, but that's the idea. Oh, and this ribbon will be on the outside as to tie it together when you're not using it. So where do we start now? Obviously, I've already embroidered on this little leaf, so that's out. Today, I'm going to be focusing on this little pouch and doing some embroidery here. I was thinking that we could tie in one of the little tatted clovers that I have on the outside and embroider some clovers onto here. And that'll also bring in some green on this side to kind of balance colors. So that's the plan for now. I went online and found this sweet little free pattern by Stitch Floral. Perfect. I will link that as well below. I'm not going to be following it exactly because this is, first of all, I don't know what I'm doing because this is my first time embroidering. Second of all, I don't know how to get the pattern on here because it's pretty thick. Like even the back is dark. So we'll see. I'm mostly going to freehand it on there and hope it works. Yay! The palette that we've been working with this whole time should work well for this. Clover flowers are a bit more on the pinky purple side, or sometimes white, so it doesn't really fit this. We can maybe use a dark shade. These are all thrifted threads that I don't know what color they are. Like the official DMC color or whatever. Which is fine, because I just want pretty shades to stitch with. So thankfully, this pattern comes with a stitch guide as to what it recommends putting in each of these things. Okay. I'm doing these stems with 2 strands. I don't know if that's the best way to go, but we'll see. And I'm going to start off with some simple back stitching for the stems. And rather than just doing a plain black stitch, let's wrap it. See if we can make it look more like a stem, just to cover up the in-between holes. Oh, that's nice. It went from being a dashed dotted line to actually being a straight line. That is heckin' magic. Oh yeah. I like that so much better. Okay. Okay, so here's the dotted line. Let's make some magic. I don't know if doing the stems first is the best idea, but I'm doing it. I love how wrapping that back stitch makes such a difference. I wonder how that would work in cross stitch, because back stitch is also used in cross stitch, but I've never seen people wrap it like that. Or maybe I have and just didn't recognize it. And looks like there's a lazy daisy right about here. What does it recommend? Satin stitch slash fly stitch. What? Satin stitch I vaguely understand, but let's try it. And I think the fly stitch means that we're using that to create the little heart shape. So I'm going to try something. And it may be wrong, because it doesn't really say. And yes, I'm using 2 strands. I should probably only using a single strand for this, but I think this is how they're meant to do it. This is not a tutorial if I haven't stated that already. So I'm making, oh, that one was a little bit off. And then I'm thinking, if I slide this under and then use that to tuck, that it kind of makes a little clover shape. And then if I just fill it in a little bit more, how is that looking? Does that look like a clover? I think it does. It's a little smaller than I would like, but I think that works. I'm running out of thread though. I should probably not play thread chicken with a craft that I'm not familiar with. Yeah, I should tie off here before it gets too chaotic. Oh, I didn't even notice how that knot had been formed in the... Oh. Well, we'll just secure that down with some stitches now. And hope that nothing goes horribly wrong. Look at that! That I'm gonna take a photo and overlay that so you can see what it actually looks like, because it is looking a lot better than I expected. Are they perfect? Absolutely not. Do I love it anyway? Heck yeah. Look at that. Okay. It is absolutely very jank, but also I kind of love it. So, just saying. So that was the first one. We'll see how well I improve my technique there. And then for the flowers, I'm supposed to be doing bullion stitch, bullion knot. So it says to bring it up, bring it down where you want it. And then back up. Okay, so we want to wrap the needle. I'm having trouble holding this. I'll try it. Oh, nope, that's not how that's supposed to go. Okay. Okay, that is not a bullion stitch, but it kind of works. If you know what you're doing, and you know what I'm doing wrong, it's too late. It's too late. I will probably have figured it out by the end of this video anyway. So for now, skip ahead a bit, cause what in the actual bejesus? Alright, I mean that's kind of the texture I'm going for. I don't hate it. You can't see it on camera at all. Let me get my phone and get you a close-up of whatever the heck that just was. Okay, so we have our little spiral, right? And I'm gonna try to pull the needle through while holding it roughly where it's supposed to go. Okay, that kind of looks like it's supposed to. I don't hate that, but I gotta do it a whole bunch more times, and I don't know how I feel about that. It's not as enjoyable as the satin stitch, and I know some of y'all are gonna be like, what? You enjoyed the satin stitch? But, yes. So now I just need to do that a bajillion more times, and maybe mix in some lighter pink. Nope. What? All I did was make a weird knot, which is not what I was going for. I might scrap this whole thing and cut a new piece and pick a different pattern entirely. That's where I'm at currently, but maybe it'll turn out okay. Alright, so this one's for all of the people who struggle with embroidery, and apparently so do I. And that's okay. So I'm gonna stop recording, probably take a break, watch some more tutorial videos, and then I'm gonna keep working on this. And I'm gonna check in a day or so, and hopefully we'll have made some progress that I can show you. And we're back. It's been a couple of days, and I've done a little bit of stitching. I'm slowly starting to get the hang of these little twisty knots. You'll see I added some lighter green to the tips of the clovers, as well as the middle line. And we've just got one clover and one flower left to go, but I wanted to do here on camera. And let's see how my technique has improved. I did start kind of shaping the clovers myself rather than resorting entirely to the center pole, so that's different. You can see where I'm kind of making a little bit of a heart shape at the end there. Definitely not perfect, very organic. and just kind of ad-libbing as I go. But I think that has helped. And now we're gone with the lighter green. I'm just kind of mixing in some lighter greens along the tips there to kind of create this shape. Not being too precious about it. Are they perfect? Absolutely not. Are they cute? Yes, they are. And I don't expect to be perfect on literally my first embroidery ever. And if you too are coming along with this challenge, make sure that you are not being too hard on yourself either. Now, as far as the flowers are concerned, I found that it was actually easier to do without the hoop. So I'm going to set that aside. And we're going to do a few of these little curlicues. So we're starting over here where we made some lazy daisies. And I'm going to guesstimate around here. Do a bunch of twisting. I'm going to hold it and carefully pull that through. And then slowly turn this to the side. Now, is this the best way to do it? No idea. Is it the official way to do it? Also no idea. Does it work? Yes. So now I'm going to do that a bunch more times in a vaguely floral shape. And then we'll be done with this embroidery. Here we go. I think it turned out pretty alright. Is it well balanced and artistic and perfect? No, not at all. So the next step is to actually assemble all of this. And we're back. And yes, I do wear this cardigan constantly, even in summer. I just made a new tray recently, a little monstera leaf. Very cute. The pattern is available for free on my website if you're interested. I've been using it to hold on my little sewing clips. So that's what we're using there. Now, I'm not a big fan of sewing zippers, but I have done it. I'm sure this will be fine. And all I have as far as machines is the very cheap brother I got for Christmas one year, which does its job. Alright, well, it's not super even, but it is done. And the pinking kind of makes it look like a little stamp. Cute. Alright. The embroidery was a little close to the top stitching. I don't like that, but it's okay. So we've got scissor pocket. Where are my scissors? I literally just had them in hand. And look, they fit. Boom. I probably should have tilted it up a little bit more so that they don't slide around, but it's fine. I can't get my needle threaded, and I'm feeling kind of lightheaded with all these lights. So I'm gonna take a break. In fact, I'm gonna take the rest of the night off. We have the entire inside assembled. And then tomorrow I will sew the two halves together. And then we'll bind it. It is the next day. I have eaten, I have slept, I have drank so much water and or tea, but my head still hurts. So I have the lights as dim as they will go while still allowing the camera to pick it up. But we'll see how long it lasts. I don't have a ton to do, so hopefully we can just bust this out so I can get this all edited and out by the end of the month, or at least the beginning of July. It's already June. Boy, time is weird. So I'm gonna start by clipping this together. Alright, so the idea is to stitch right down this where the edge of this has been folded over. Double checking that I still have plenty of thread on my bobbin, because yeah, that happens. Okay, so we have our first seam. That makes it so the pocket is fully sealed. Cool. It looks like we just missed the moon, so that's good. The next one is just inside of this pocket. Oh. I forgot there was a button there. I should have waited to add the buttons until later. And I didn't record that. Whoops. So that is what happens when you try to stitch through a button like a dumbass. Alright. My machine is unhappy. That wasn't super straight because I tried to stitch over a button. There's literally stitch marks in my button. I will have to post a close-up. Oh well. Alright, binding. I gotta be careful with this button on the edge when I'm doing the binding. It's fine, we'll figure this out. Learning as I go, after all. Y'all, if you do this, make sure any beads or sequins are not along where you're gonna be sewing your binding. Cause duh! I think I'm doing something wrong, because this is not... Did I do too wide of a... When I fold this over, it's not quite reaching the stitch line of what I just did. So I'm gonna have to trim some of this off and then fold it over, so I'm gonna be losing like 1/8 of an inch, but that is better than me having to completely redo this, honestly. Let me do some pressing and see if that makes it look any better. Yeah, it doesn't quite reach over. So this is what I'm talking about. So on this side, it looks great. And then I seam flat and fold over, and it's not quite getting to that line that we just stitched. And I think I just gave it too much of a seam allowance. But rather than unpicking it and redoing it, and then having a partially stitched line down that, I'm just gonna trim this with my pinking shears and then fold it over and bind it. And it'll just have to be 1/8 of an inch shorter than it was supposed to be, or whatever. That's fine. And now, if I fold this over, it actually reaches the seam. I'm gonna do that stitching by hand, I think. Especially with all the buttons and shears. Okay. So, I'm gonna trim this up and then cut to something sometime after. Feel free to tell me in the comments what you would have done differently if you encountered this issue. Like, would you have just unpicked it and redone it? But keep in mind that it's too late now. I can't go back and do something different. So you're just gonna have to live with my choice as a complete noob, just learning to fix mistakes. I don't have the experience to know what the best fix is, and I'm too stubborn to ask. And if it turns out horrible, that's okay, because I still made something at the end of the day, and that's all that matters to me. And doing this binding on a smaller project makes me a little bit more confident to potentially do a quote-unquote proper quilt one day. I mean, that's the whole point of this month, right? Is to learn new techniques. And this is certainly new to me. And I fully never expect to do anything perfect the first time. So I'm just going to be happy with whatever we end up with. So I'm a bit familiar with this stitch. I've worked it before. My head is super hurting. So I'm gonna turn off my lights and work like I usually do by the light of my monitor. Yes, this is what I normally cross stitch with. Do I have low light vision? Thankfully, yes. It's brighter in here than the camera would lead you to believe, but not bright enough for me to continue filming because you literally can't see anything. So I'm gonna stitch in the dark so that hopefully my headache calms down, and then I will come back to show you maybe one of the corners and then the finished project. It's done! I actually already filmed this once, but my microphone wasn't recording, so let's try again. Woo! Alright, so we made it through. I finished binding it. I did not come back to show you the corners. I'm sorry. I love it. I did spend quite a bit of time binding. The corners could use some work, but I think that's mainly because I had to awkwardly cut part of it out in the middle and then it just didn't line up exactly right. But it really doesn't matter, so it's still a very cute little booklet. And let's open it up. We have our inside. We have a wonderful little zippy pocket that I currently have full of wonder clips. Boop. And then I have put some color matched thread on here. This ribbon's a little bit too long, but it works. And then, oh, I took the scissors out. Hold on. And show. Slides right in. And then, of course, we have our little needle holder. And we have an empty pocket that I will eventually put stuff in that has embroidery on it. So, all in all, great success. I learned so much. Wow. So we learned shuttle tatting, and I made a lot of cute little stuff. We learned some darning this month. That was neat. The loom's actually upstairs because I was working on some more socks. So we learned some crazy quilting. I had a lot of fun decorating all of these seams. There's some embroidery in there as well, technically. And then we also learned some embroidery here. So we got a lot of practice in, and I learned at least 4 new crafts that I had never tried before. All in all, a very successful floss adventure. I would love to see what y'all came up with. I know I'm planning to probably do more darning. As I said, I already have the loom upstairs that I'm working on that. I probably will also do more shuttle tatting. In fact, I ordered some Lisbeth thread so I can try it with not stranded cotton. Naturally, I got a rainbow just in time for the end of Pride Month, but that's okay because it's Pride year round. I don't know what you're talking about. So that's my plans. I'm definitely going to be doing more tatting. I will do more quilting, but it'll probably be, well, I need to figure out what my next project will be. Next month is, well, this month, because it will probably be July by the time I finish editing this. This month is Art Fight month for me, which every year in July there's a site, artfight.net. So if you're not familiar with Art Fight, basically you upload some references of your original characters and random people on the internet attack you by drawing them for fun. So you get art of your characters, and then you attack back by drawing their characters, and there are teams and arbitrary points, but mostly it's just a fun way to practice drawing. And before you say that you're not good enough at drawing, there is art up there for all different skill ranges and all sorts of different characters, from the super intricate humanoid characters to object characters. Like I have a character on there that is literally a floss bobbin. You can draw that, I promise. But because I'm a cross stitcher, I do tend to do at least a few attacks each year that are cross stitches. So I'll be pixeling some, probably some object characters and like simple shape characters, because those are easier to pixel at a small size so that I can actually get it stitched in a reasonable amount of time. So that'll be fun. I'll post up here some of the attacks from previous years so you can see. But that's all just to say that I probably won't have a video out for the rest of the month, but in August I do plan to go back to some more cross-stitchy stuff, so look forward to that. I apologize for getting briefly distracted by all of the crafts. I am primarily a cross-stitch channel, but it's important to me to try new things every once in a while and both learn what new crafts I will enjoy and also as just like inspiration and like refueling that creativity. So, cross stitch. What will I work on next? Don't know. Do y'all still want the UFO parade? Because I could do that next and do like just like an easy floss tube. Who knows? Thanks for sticking around and for watching me. I hope you enjoyed this little foray into crafting. And whatever you decide to do next, I hope you keep creating amazing things.